Hello and welcome to this collective reading. I hope you're all well. It's been a little while since I posted a video here on YouTube, so I wanted to sit down today and record a timeless collective reading. A timeless reading is basically a reading that you find whenever you're meant to find it, and it will hold some kind of resonance, some kind of message for you. And a collective reading, if you're not familiar, is a reading that will be found by a particular collective of people. So if you feel drawn to this video, you feel drawn to the energy of this video, then it's for you. And again, you will have some kind of message, some kind of wisdom come through regarding your current situation. So we're going to pull some tarot cards today. We're working with the Tarot of the Hidden Realm, which is one of my favourite decks. And of course, with this being a collective reading, if you want something more specific, you can book a personal reading with me, a private reading, and the link's down in the description box. So let's see what we're working with for this reading. What wants to come through? Okay, Two of Swords. Okay, so I just had the word initiation scream itself at me as I just pulled this card. This is some kind of choice point. This is a very connected to purpose, to, I'm getting the words reason for being here, which is very, very strong, very potent. And so there's a kind of initiation going on here. There's a sense of trust. This could be related to a person in our lives. It could be related to a situation. It could be related even to maybe a deity that we work with, maybe like an energy that's coming through that is saying, yes, now is the time. Now is the time to pursue this. Now is the time to explore this. And there's such a huge sense of trust. You know, if you think about if someone was holding this sword to your neck, you would have to really trust them to not do anything rash, to not harm you, because, you know, this is a very dangerous weapon, and this is right next to this guy's throat, and the woman standing behind him, I just get this sense, you know, she's inviting him to trust her at a deeper level. So this could actually relate to us trusting ourselves. I just had a strong sense then that it relates to some of you in the way that you trust your intuition. So I'm thinking about the feminine principle here in terms of being the intuition, being like the sense of trust and flow, and, you know, the masculine energy here, like the more of the driven kind of action energy, is being called to just take a pause, just a little bit. It's not to say that we can't take action on anything, but there's this sense of needing to trust that things will unfold as they're meant to, and to not strive or push or manipulate certain outcomes, because this has got its own timing. Whatever this is for you, whatever has come up recently, whatever's coming to the surface, it has its own timing, its own rhythm. And the best thing that we can do, I'm getting the sense of this here, is like fall into, because whatever this is in alignment with us anyway. So when we come into balance within ourselves, we are in tune with whatever that thing is that we're moving towards, because it's meant, because we know that it's something that we're meant to do. Maybe it's not entirely clear yet with the Two of Swords. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, there's a woman sitting with a blindfold on. So we might not see the full path ahead just yet, but we know that there's something. And actually there's been an inkling for quite a while, and then maybe recently something kind of slapped us around the face and said, yes, this is the thing. This is the thing that you're connected to. This is a big component of who you are, and this is what you're meant to work with. This is what you're meant to do. And now we're just being invited to trust. Trust the process of initiation that we're moving through. Interesting. I just had the word devotion as well. There's a level of devotion to a particular way, to a particular way of being, maybe even to a particular deity, a god or a goddess, or something along those lines, some kind of force in nature as well. That's another thing that's coming through. Some kind of allegiance and alliance that's going on. Very powerful, actually. Very, very powerful energy coming through. Yeah, the Hanged Man. So we've got some more surrender here. We've got some more learning to do, I feel, as well. And actually this learning is more likely to come through when we do surrender. I mean, this is another surrendered pose here. trusting that we will receive what we need to receive, and that feels to be related to guidance. And so when we're here, the Hanged Man is hanging from the tree upside down. He's surrendered. He knows something's coming, but he doesn't know when. If we think about Odin hanging on Yggdrasil, he didn't know how long he was going to be there. It's just this idea of being there and accepting. And I kind of want to, what came through then, I want to say accepting our fate, which is very interesting. There's something very fated, something very destined that's going on, and I've just got this sense of like a convergence, like all of these energies coming together. It's like this, the right people, the right places, the right information, the right songs, the right books, like everything's just coming together like this. And it's creating something very tangible eventually. May not be right away, like I said, we need to take our time with this, but there's something about this. I just heard the beauty is in the waiting. And it doesn't feel necessarily like just passive, just waiting for things to happen and not taking any action at all. It feels like focused waiting. That makes sense, The Hanged Man's eyes are open here. He is awake. He is alive. He is focused. And in that sense, he's active. He's actively waiting. I don't even know that waiting is the right word, but I can't quite come up with another word just yet, but we'll see what comes through. I just noticed as well this moth here, other side, this moth here, or this butterfly. So there's something about transformation, something that's taking place at the moment that is very, very palpable, very strong. We can feel it in our bones. Something is shifting. And I just had this sense of bones cracking then. It's almost as though it's making me think about werewolves, for example. If you've ever seen any werewolf films, that's maybe going off on a tangent, but as the person changes into the werewolf, you can hear the bones cracking, and it's like they're growing, and it's like this shape-shifting feeling. And we're in a process of metamorphosis, shifting, changing, creaking, cracking, like all of these things are taking place within us. And at the same time, there's this sense as well that I'm feeling, not necessarily getting this from the cards, but like holding the tension of opposites as we move through this time. And it might feel a little bit like we're being like moved around like this, like jostled around, and we're just holding this space and trying to hold this sense of stillness really while we move through these shifts and changes. And it's not easy to move through times like these, because it can be very disorienting. It can be very difficult to kind of know what's going on. And I know recently I posted about the eclipse portal, the eclipse season that we just moved through. This is a timeless reading, but this is the energy that's around while I'm recording this. And I talked about this feeling of not really knowing which way is up. And that can be very difficult, because we're in the midst of chaos and change. When we're in the midst of that, it can be really hard to know exactly where we're going next. Now, how do you find the path ahead if you're just being kind of pulled from one side to the other and spun around? And it's okay that we move through that process. Of course, we don't stay there, but it's like that dissolution, that energy of when you think about the caterpillar, going into that chrysalis and turning into goo and just dissolving and just being mush for a while, and then eventually comes back together and crystallizes again. There's this kind of creaking and cracking feeling that I'm getting before we burst out of that chrysalis and spread our wings, and then there's all this beauty. We didn't know how powerful or beautiful that we are until this point when we begin to break out. So let's pull another card. Queen of Pentacles. So we can call on this kind of aspect within ourselves of stability. I was just talking about that beauty and power that we'll feel when we kind of come out the other side, when we come out of the chrysalis. This really makes me think of that. The woman in this card is very, very beautiful. She's grounded. She creates what she needs. She attracts what she needs. I really get this sense of power from this card, where she just knows herself. She knows who she is, she knows what she wants, she knows her capabilities, she knows her power, she knows how to make things happen, and she also knows how to receive. And maybe that's something that we're working through. Maybe that's the message of this card, where actually we're being invited to remember that it's okay to receive, and there's a lot of power in receiving, in being open enough to receive what we need. I've just had the word state your needs come through, so this is a message as well of speaking our needs, telling people what we need, what we do and what we don't want, the things that we need in order to grow, speaking outwardly, telling people how we feel as well, expressing needs in terms of boundaries and physical needs. Also, I'm just looking at this apple here, something about sustenance as well, providing this sustenance for ourselves, but also knowing that if we have the right people in our lives that really do resonate and we know that we can trust them, again, we've got this sense of trust. Oops, dropped it. We've got this sense of trust that we can turn to these people. We can actually turn to these people and say, hey, look, I really need some help with this because I'm actually struggling through this time. Can you help me? And asking for help is difficult sometimes, particularly if we had experiences in the past where we've asked for help and we haven't received it. And so don't be afraid to ask for help. That's another message that's coming through. So I'm going to pull one more card, and then we'll close out this reading for now. And what else do we need to know? What is supporting us at this time? What is supporting us? What have we got here? That's interesting. We've got the Three of Swords, which is quite a grief-stricken card, which is really interesting. If you're going to ask what is supporting us, you wouldn't really expect something to do with grief and loss and sadness to come through. And I just heard the words ability to feel. So actually what's supporting us at the moment is our ability to feel. Because I've said this many times over the years, in many different guises, on many different platforms online, that to feel is to heal. And as we leave this caterpillar state behind, there may be some sadness around that. There may be some people that we need to leave. There may be some situations, places, circumstances that we need to leave behind. And I just heard, don't be afraid of your own sadness. So I had some conversations recently on a workshop that I was on. We were talking about how, as songwriters, which is something that I do now and then, we often channel a kind of sad feeling, like we only ever really write sad songs, and how maybe some of us have been criticised for that, or people say, well, that's a bit depressing, but that's how our feelings can move, through creativity. And so I kind of want to say, like, your sadness is your superpower. And that sounds a bit odd. Of course, we don't want to be stuck in sadness all of the time, but it's very important to feel what we feel. And if you are the kind of person who has these melancholy states come up now and then, or maybe often, just feel them. The more that we resist things, the more that they get stuck. So what's supporting us at the moment is the ability to feel our feelings, the ability to create something from that energy, the ability to sit with that energy and let it move through, to not get stuck there. It's not about getting stuck in sadness. It's not about getting stuck in melancholy and depression. It's about knowing that these emotions are there, and maybe they're coming up from the past. Could be this life, could be past lives, could be many different places they're coming from. It's okay to feel them. And sometimes we can feel like there's a bit of a bottomless pit. I'm actually going to pull another card because I feel like there's some more support that wants to come through. But yeah, it can feel like a bottomless pit sometimes, especially when related to a particular person, a particular experience, maybe a particular lifetime. We might feel like, why am I still crying about this? Why is this still coming to the surface? Well, because it's still there. Because it still needs to be felt, healed, worked with, sat with. And it doesn't mean, like I said, that we have to be in that state all the time, but it does need to be felt. If it comes to the point where, you know, we're wallowing too much and we're not actually getting things done, then that's unhealthy. And so we need to change that. We need to lift our energy, and we need to find a way to shake it off a little bit. That's not to say that we can't revisit it and feel what we need to feel again, but if it is becoming a hindrance, then it does need to be maybe turned away from for a little while. You can acknowledge that something is there and say, you know, I know this sadness is there, I know this grief is there. Today I really need to do these things, so I will come back to this, and I will feel this, and I will cry, and I will let this out. But right now I need to yada yada yada, whatever you need to do. Okay, so we do have a choice with that. Let's get one more card for support, closing out. Four of Wands. I was just talking about music as well, which is interesting. Creativity. With this card in this deck, I really feel the sense of people coming together. So again, as I was saying about being able to turn to particular people that we trust, there's a nice symbiotic relationship kind of energy going on here, where, you know, we're being around people that we feel resonance with. It's really important that these people are all playing in the same key, or it's going to sound terrible, right? So it's really important that they are on the same page. So I've got this sense that spending time with people who hold resonance for and with us is really important at the moment. Even if we feel like spending a lot of time alone, when we do spend time with other people, it's important to have people around us that share our values and share our zest, our passion for life. Because even if we feel this fairly often, I'm betting we've still also got some zest and passion for life somewhere. Yeah, coming together to create something beautiful. So don't forget that you also have this support. You also have these people around you. And if you don't feel these to be physical human beings, this could be spirit around you. It could be guides that you work with. It could be deities that you work with. It could be spirits of the land where you live that you connect with. Whatever it is, there's a resonance here, and it's important to tune into that frequency. Maybe when you start to feel a little bit lost in whatever this is, there's a very different energy between these two. Look at the colours. Very warm, very bright, very energetic, very dark, very dull. And we possess both. We hold both within ourselves, the light and the shadow. Yeah, there's also a sense of stability here with the four. Think about the legs on a table, the legs on a chair, for example. There's some kind of stability that can be found through connecting with these people or guides or land spirits that hold resonance for us. So I hope this reading has been helpful to you. I do feel, you know, like I said, there's this kind of pause that I'm feeling with this reading, especially with the Hanged Man, and this kind of initiation that we're moving through is going to take time. So don't feel like you have to rush through this. Something beautiful is coming through from this energy, but for the moment we need to sit with whatever it is that's taking place and let it be as it is. So I will speak to you all next time. Like and subscribe and comment if you feel to. And yeah, I look forward to reading for you then. Take care. Bye-bye.